Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
My name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
Especially Garphill Games, because they create some pretty good games out there.
That is true.
Well, speaking of Garphill Games, they have sent us an expansion of Circadians First Light, which is coming to Kickstarter pretty much right now, so you should check it out.
This one.
We are gonna talk about it.
Specialists. So the Specialists expansion is the newest.
Are you a specialist?
A specialist in what?
Everything.
No, I'm a jack of all trades.
Isn't that a specialist?
Jack of all trades, baby. What?
Is that not a specialist?
Being a jack of all trades?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll leave it up for a debate. Before we get into this, if you're new to our channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button and follow along our journey, especially if you find videos like this helpful. Well, before we get into the expansion, let's give you a quick overview of what Circadians First Light looks like. So in Circadians First Light, you're going to be entering a new planet, and your goal is to score the most points. You'll do this by fulfilling contracts, negotiating with locals, and collecting precious gems. Now, the way this game works is you'll have 7 rounds in which you'll initially look at an event, then roll your dice and place them behind your hidden screen. So it's a dice rolling, dice planning type of game. Because when everyone has placed their dice on their board, you'll reveal and then take turns taking actions on the main board, as well as harvesting and earning more resources. So this game in a nutshell is a resource manipulation game in which you'll try to get the most resources so you can trade them in for points in various ways, either contracts, negotiations, or more. Now, after the 7 rounds, the player with the most points will win. And Tyler keeps beating me by 1 point.
I do.
Not fair.
Hee.
Because he gets 1 gem or 1 dice.
I had no gems the last game I beat you. Just saying.
Well, now this video is going to be taking a look at the Specialists expansion, and what we're going to answer is why should you check out the Specialists expansion? Is it worth it? What are the 3 reasons you should take a look at it?
Yes, yeah. So we're not going to dive too much into the actual First Light game. We're going to specifically be talking about the Specialists expansion because, like we said before, it's on Kickstarter right now, and you should definitely check it out. Well, without further ado, let's chat about why you might want to add this to your collection to be able to play it with the base game.
Now, the Specialist expansion adds specialists.
What?
So what specialists are their dice without pips, which I think is, I don't think I've ever seen.
Cleverly utilized.
It's a clever way to do like a wild dice. Because you could have had just a dice and say it's wild and maybe a different color, but instead there's no pips.
I also like how you called it a dice without pips when it's just a cube.
So what this dice does is there's a special new spot on the board that you can go to get a specialist dice, or there's a few ways to get the specialist dice. Yeah. But when you get one, you'll replace one of the dice that you have, and it essentially becomes a wild. And what's really cool about it is you can use it, because usually dice you have to use in turn order on the top row, but this one you can use out of order. You can also use it to go to the section below as well. Yep. So there's a lot of ways that you can really manipulate the way that you play the game and give you a lot of flexibility, which I think if you really enjoy this game, this only amps it up, because now all of a sudden, if your plan got foiled and Tyler took your space, you still have flexibility with your specialist to do something else.
What I like about the Specialists is that they do add a little bit more freedom and allow you to be able to, like Ilya said, break that chain from left to right, having to be able to play, because sometimes your plans do get foiled. But additionally to that, you've got another sideboard that people have access to. So it adds this action that I think is very clever, it's very nice, that if I go ahead and use Ilya's Specialist action, then he gets benefits for using it. But sometimes the abilities that the Specialists provide you are so good that you can't say no to using somebody else's ability, and vice versa.
And there's many of those outpost actions as well, so you can interchange them, because you get to choose and get to choose one. Yeah. And some of them are really clever, like yours was at one point a discount for contracts. You can fulfill a contract and get a discount for it, which is really nice, because then you don't have to just lose dice permanently on the other board.
Yeah, it was like for specific ongoing contracts, which is super nice. There's a bunch of other ones that are really, really friendly. Well, that's one way to put it. They're really, really cool to be able to play with. And then on top of that, it kind of goes like an extra mile by adding that. They just like go kind of well with your heroes that you've already had. And I think that's a lot of fun because you can get these fun little combos going on, and that's always fantastic.
That's true. Now, the second reason you might want to check out this game is the expansion of the negotiations board.
Woo! Because there used to be three
factions.
Three factions on the board, and now what they've done is expanded it to 5.
So 2 more, and it's further building that world of Circadians. So some of the factions that we see introduced are the factions that we saw in the Chaos Order, and one of them we haven't even seen yet. So maybe that one will also come to Chaos Order. That could be exciting.
Yeah.
But having that flexibility with more factions just allows more flexibility in getting more of the points, because there's ways of like you want to get 4 contracts or 4 dice in negotiations board on this side, and the other one it goes for water, which we didn't have last time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different actions now that are more accessible to you. The point scoring, I think, is really important too, because now all of a sudden, if you have an engine that builds you a lot of energy, you can now use that energy to go to that spot, and hopefully somebody else is gathering something else, so you don't have to worry about not losing the highest points.
Exactly. And last point is just a seamless integration of some of the other materials.
Yes.
In this expansion, you get a little bit more of everything. There's many new heroes, some with really cool abilities that can really shape how you play your game. So that adds a little asymmetric faction aspect. There's new tiles that you can place within your boards. There's a little bit of everything, and even new solo components.
Yeah, new ships, new gardens, new outpost cards that you're able to play that provide you cool little goals or give you another way to get a specialist. It is very, very seamless, and I think like my biggest thing with the game and this expansion is that it opens the board up, and it feels like
the world is your oyster kind of deal.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because in First Light, the base game, I think it's very restrictive, very intentionally restrictive, and builds those moments where you might not be able to go where you had hoped to go. And it was very tight. I think Specialist Expansion opens that up a little bit more, but still provides that niche, like, I'm trying to go for something, and you can do your goals, but it could also not go as planned.
And I think it definitely appealed to people who play First Light at a higher player count.
Yes.
Because it really expands that game out. It was still fantastic at 2 with so many possibilities and so much excitement. But I think if you particularly play this game more at just a higher player count, you'll love it even more.
Yes.
And there are still those considerations and from boards that are for lower player and higher. So there's still... It's not loosey-goosey. We're going to be all over the place. It's
still
there.
the same game.
It's still the same game.
Yeah.
So if that interests you at all...
You should check out their Kickstarter down below, because we've linked it there.
We did. There's a link down there. And if you have any questions, if you want to learn more about this game, feel free to comment down below. Now, for our question of the day, we're going to ask you, what is one of your favorite expansions to a game?
Yeah, I really, really want to know the
I'm
answer
very
to this
curious.
question.
I don't even know what my answer is.
I also have no idea what I would say.
We'll have to ponder and maybe get back to you in the comments. Well, thank you so much for watching. You know what to do. Hit that subscribe, like button, do all sorts of things. And if you want to support us in any way, feel free to check out our Discord or Patreon as well.
Exactly. Until next time, though, we hope you enjoy all the games that you have, and happy gaming.
Bye.